Hello, my name is Krisa Skodra and I'm teaching this virtual course in social media marketing and blogging to students of Kauno Collegia, University of Applied Sciences in Lithuania. I'm expecting some of my students to join me in this virtual meeting, but I would like to start this session already. A small change in our time for today that was communicated, but this video, since it's a live webcast and it will be also broadcasted in YouTube, can be found later on by all the students or anyone interested to take a look at. So we are reaching the end of the course, and there's lots of things still to cover. Today, I will go through a number of topics, and I will start with one topic that I have given some feedback already to the students regarding their use of pictures in their blog. We have a blog where the Campus Ambassadors blog, where the students are becoming, they are bloggers and ambassadors promoting what's happening in their school. I would like to share my screen so that we can take a look at the presentation I have made. So hopefully you see my screen. I'll put it on full screen. And I would like to start today by this topic, the power of photos in blogging. I have been blogging since 2003, and back in those days, 12 years ago, I didn't have a very fancy camera, or I didn't know any photographer or amateur photographer who can help me with my pictures for my blog. I was finding, though, lots of resources online, and I think at those days I was misusing pictures, as many people still do today, many students do today when they do their presentations, and they very easily go to a search engine like Google and tap, they type the name of the picture or the image that they're searching for, and then they just download the picture or upload it by using a URL link, etc., etc. That's not the ideal way to do it, and that's not even the legal way to do it. So today we talk about, one, the power of photos in blogging, but also the Creative Commons license, that it's a great resource for bloggers to the level, to anyone, but also to the level of our students here in Kauno Collegia, University of Applied Sciences, that they could easily, and you could easily use in your blogs. So why pictures are important? I know that many of you have been writing great texts for your blog. Some of you shorter, some of you longer, some of you have a great talent in writing. But a blog is not just necessarily a collection of texts in a reverse chronological order. I think every good blog post should be accompanied by great images as well. There's a certain psychology when we're talking about photos and visuals. So don't forget that people are color sensitive. So if your image is surrounded by a white background and black letters, it's easily the first thing they're noticed. So pictures are attention grabbing. There are also great ways to rest our eyes. So let's say you start by blogging and writing a paragraph. So in my opinion, it should be paragraph 1, picture that captures the essence of paragraph 1, paragraph 2, picture 2, paragraph 3, picture 3. I think that's a great structure to structure a blog post so that the eye can rest. So the images really do a great job in conveying the essence, the gist, the main point of your article, of your blog post. So people look at the picture, and if that sparks their interest, they move on to the text. The same happens with social media. If people see that you have a great picture on your preview, on your thumbnail, they would most likely click on the link to go read the story and then find out what you have written in there. But they're curious, so you help them, you increase their curiosity with the use of photos. So as I said, images are a great way, a shortcut to social media success, because of the preview of the thumbnails that you're choosing from your blog post. So remember, for this course, it's not only the fact that you're writing blog posts and you're adding pictures to them, but also the social media sharing part, where you're sharing those URL links and you're choosing the right picture to be previewed and featured when you share your blog post link to Facebook, to Twitter, to LinkedIn, and to Instagram. No, Instagram, actually, you're choosing the actual picture, so it's even more valid to choose the right picture you plan to Instagram and then attach the blog URL link. So images have the psychological power to make more dynamic, more engaging, more attention-grabbing social media posts and blog posts. Here are some instructions that very simply in bullet points, you can find a good image and you can already insert it into your blog post. So on one of our sessions, we spoke about the Flickr, and I urge you to go check flickr.com or any other photo hosting, photo sharing service, but Flickr I would recommend. They have a great resource of Creative Commons licensed content there, and you can select, once you log in, the search option that gives you those Creative Commons licensed content. So in there, with different keywords, you can find a picture that you would like to use for your blog post. As I said, it would be great, of course, to have your own pictures taken by you. That's the best way to make a good blog post, either by you or by using a friend's camera, or using a friend or a photographer that can come with you or under your instructions get some pictures for you. That will be ideal. But let's say you cannot find a picture that, or you cannot photograph a picture that you have in mind, but this is another way to search and find a good image. The Creative Commons license gives you the possibility to use a picture that somebody else has taken, by giving, for instance, the attribution license that I would highly recommend, the possibility to give credit to the photographer, to the owner of the picture in your blog post. So you could say photo by this person and link to their work. So there's different instructions. So once you go to flickr.com/Creative Commons 2.0, you'll find it there. And my recommendation for the on-campus blog, as you can see here, is that it would be great if the picture is 640 pixels at least, or if I can show you here on our blog. So now I'm checking into our Campus Ambassadors blog on WordPress. So if you see here, I'm in the backend in our dashboard, and I click all posts. Let me see one of the already published ones. The best restaurant in Kaunas, Taluti. Okay, let's see about that. It was published 11 minutes ago. And let's see what pictures this blog post has. It's loading. Let me see if someone has joined this setting. Oh, there's some questions being asked. So now I'm checking the blog. Let me find just one blog post that the students have written. Let's check this one. I'll share my screen again. Top 5 countries you should visit. So the student who wrote this blog post suggests 5 cities that should be visited by all of us and mentions their name. So for instance, that's a great idea. As I said, top 5 blog post always works. Lists always work. Top 5, top 10, top 5 reasons to, etc., etc. And now the student maybe hasn't, the author or the blogger of this post haven't visited the country. So they found a picture. So this picture, if we click on it and we click edit, we see that here it's given on this minimum 300 pixel times 169. And I recommended before that perhaps you should go by the large size, so the picture previews better. It's better that the picture begins and ends here where the text begins and ends. So the same thing should be done here. So always choose this large size, and remember when you can always insert it like that, that it doesn't pixelate or lose the quality. But one thing, so now I'm editing one of my students' blog posts just to show, but what I would like to show also is, since we're talking about the Creative Commons, that here in the caption, when you're using a picture that is not yours, you should write, for example, maybe this alternative text, maybe this is a photo by, would be Luca Galuzzi. And again, I don't know if this picture is under the Creative Commons license, but for the sake of demonstration here, we can say it is. So here we see that the student has picked up a picture, but we're not sure that the picture is can be taken. But what I would like you to do when you use a picture here from Flickr, for example, let's see. Now you can have open in another tab the flickr.com website, and you can go straight to /Creative Commons directly, and here it is. Here at www.flickr.com/Creative Commons, you can explore millions and millions of pictures under different licenses. We will see in my prezi the different possibilities that they are, but briefly you can see the definitions here on this right side. Mainly I would suggest that you always use this attribution license pictures. This means that an attribution Creative Commons license picture lets others copy, distribute, display, and perform that copyrighted work, so the picture, and derivative work based upon it, so which means that you can make changes to that picture. So let's say if you find a picture of a destination, you can add a filter on it, or you can add some text on it and make some derivative and another picture based on the first picture that you found from Flickr, but only if you give credit to the original creator. So if you go here to the first one, attribution license, you can see that there is 67 million photos available. And you can click see more. And here in this box, in the search box, you could write, for example, picture of South Korea. All right, because one student, then click the search button, and then you see some pictures. So maybe you feel that this looks like a nice picture that would complement my blog post. So this is a picture taken by this person, Sebastian Berdrand, and he explains which palace it is in South Korea, etc., etc. And it explains here what rights are reserved for these pictures, etc., etc. So if you would like to add this picture to your blog post, you can click on this icon. And you see here that you get a Flickr shortened URL link. You can share it, of course, to your social media. You can embed it to your blog with different ways, to a slideshow, to a header or footer. But what I would suggest is that you stay here to the share first option, and you look down, find this code, mark it, copy it, and then go down to your post. Let's see where South Korea is here. And I'll make some just to show you. And then add media. And from there, insert from URL. You paste the URL here. And then you see how beautiful the picture previews. Right? And then insert into blog post. Let's update to see what we see in this way. And as you see here, what I have done is that in this blog post written by one of my students, I have added one picture from Flickr using a URL link. So I've used this picture by using this URL link, but that's not enough. So I have to make sure that I read here what rights are reserved for this picture. And here it says that you're free to share, to copy and redistribute the image. You're free to adapt the picture for any purpose, etc., etc. So it's good to always read what is allowed and what is not allowed. And here are the terms, the following terms. So you are allowed to do all this, to share and adapt and use it. But under these terms, you must give appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. So you have to click here, there's a hyperlink, and you see what appropriate credit means. Indicate if changes were made and provide a link to the license. So this is the way you should do. I'll just go back to make sure that I don't mess up with this post. So I'll just delete this. But as I said, for this example, always use for your pictures here, give a caption where you explain all this, give the appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, and also all the other things that the main owner of the picture is under the terms of which he or she wants you to use his or her picture, and indicates if you make any changes. So if you were to put, let's say, a text on your picture or something else, or if you change the filter somehow. So this is perhaps the best way here in the caption of the picture to do it. And always remember to use the full size of the picture, that then later on you can readjust if need be. I'll just edit this one so that I can update this post. So for instance, here I see that this is a text by student Raimonta. So Raimonta should take a look again at the pictures, add here some tags, select a category, and definitely make sure that uses the correct pictures for the correct, based on the correct license. So here I am back on the screen. So this is our Campus Ambassadors blog for my students of social media marketing and blogging at Kauno Collegia University of Applied Sciences. And for those students who are seeing this session online at the moment live, you can use the chat to ask a question, or otherwise in Moodle you can post some questions there. Let me see now if I have some of your comments there available. And if not, then I will continue, and then you'll find this recording in YouTube. Where you could ask more questions there, or in Moodle, or by email to me straight away. So I don't see anything yet, so we can continue. I'll share my screen again. So we go back to one of today's topics. So the power of photos and Creative Commons in blogs. So these are the building blocks, different permissions that I started explaining and showing you there on the Creative Commons website. So attribution, non-derivative, share alike, and no commercial are the four main permission blocks, but there are also many combinations of those main four. The ones, as I said, I recommend is the attribution, where the creator of the picture allows you to use the picture, their creative content, but with certain terms. And the main term usually is to give them credit, appropriate credit, saying who is the photographer, etc., etc. Provide a link to the license, and then maybe explain if you have made some changes, what those changes are. So here's different combinations, and perhaps you have seen the symbols somewhere in blogs, and maybe you didn't know what they mean. So now you know, and of course you have to look into those yourselves and get a better understanding of what they mean. If you see that symbol, what does that mean? Can I use this picture or can I not? And if I want to, how should I go about it? And here's some descriptions you can find in my Prezi. So this Prezi will be or is already in Moodle. I won't go through one by one, but I want you to go through, study this along with the Creative Commons website, and then in another tab you can have your flickr.com/Creative Commons, so you can see. So if you want to see, to find a particular picture, then you see what license they have and act accordingly. So this Prezi is already in Moodle. So you can find it here in our page. This is our course page. And you will find it here when you scroll down. Here it is, Prezi on the power of images in blogging and Creative Commons. So take a look at this. And perhaps we should check out this topic now. I'll put it higher. As I told you, we have lots of content to go through today. So here, as my Prezi is opening, I hope you can see my screen at the moment. So here in this Prezi, I have gathered some different blog types, and in particular, I want to focus on how to write an action post. And what is an action post, we will see in a second. But let's start with the first general post type. So this could be a post that fits great for introductory purposes. It might be the start of your upcoming blog series, something that introduces some idea or trend that it hasn't, that your audience, your readers haven't heard about yet. So this could be something that perhaps in the very beginning of your blog writing, or even in the middle or the end, if you have something, some ideas that could fit together very well, you can make a general post where you explain that, for instance, I have been to this exhibition and trade fair, and I've done this and this and this. It was a 3-day event. And then you can say at the end of this general post, stay tuned, part 2 talks about day 1, and part 3 talks about day 2, etc., etc. So a general post can set the tone and the stage, and then you can continue later on with different blog posts that altogether belong under the general blog post umbrella. Then another blog type, the specific post, is exactly what it means. Very specific details. And for this, for your blog posts in the Campus Ambassadors blog, all the assignments are specific blog posts, unless you want to group them and find some cohesion between them and make some kind of series of 5 blogging assignments that you'll be completing. So in your Campus Ambassadors blog, you have to create maybe a how-to post, how to party in Lithuania, how to study for an exam, how to prepare this food, how to prepare a great delicious pasta on a student budget, or a post with pictures and screenshots. So maybe you, as we said, maybe for the blogging assignment where you asked to present a recipe, maybe you write the recipe instructions and you accompany that recipe with pictures and of what you're actually making. So here I'm breaking the eggs, and here I'm putting them all together, and here I put everything in the oven, and voila, after 2 hours you have a delicious cake. Lists, as we said, they're very great ideas that always work. So as tourism students, you have to write also some travel posts. So for those, you can write a very specific post about things you like in traveling, or traveling for students, traveling for degree students, etc., etc. A philosophical post, perhaps it's not so relevant in your case at the moment, but maybe if some of you, and since some of you have your own blog posts, your blogs already, your personal blogs, I mean, maybe sometimes you feel more philosophical like others, and you want to write just an idea post. So it's all about clarifying your own thoughts in your head, and that they're very maybe therapeutic. So those posts could come from you maybe in your blog posts, personal ones, but also why not in the Campus Ambassadors blog? There are a few assignments. For instance, the one that talks about your learning transformation, that perhaps you could be more philosophical about, and write about that, your change, your learning curve, and how you become aware, where you are today, why you applied to this school, what was your childhood dreams, and what was your life experiences, and how did you apply to the school, how you got in, where you are today, a few months into the first semester. And this is where I want to emphasize more today the action post. So the action post could be any of the above three: the general, the specific, the philosophical. But there's one difference. The main difference is that there's always something actionable for the reader to do. So the reader is asked, there's a call to action. There's a call to action for the reader, which means that after reading the blog post or during the blog post, there is something that your reader can actively do. So after reading your recipe, you urge them to make their own recipe and post the results in the comments below, or in your Instagram page, or on your Facebook, or to visit the place, to visit your favorite restaurant and report about it. How do they like it? How do they not? So this is what we'll be talking about today. A little bit before you actually write such a action post, you have to think about a great blog title. So you have to always remember how to intrigue, to capture the reader's attention into clicking on the link of your blog post. How does your blog post title is the first thing they see, and maybe a featured image? How do they click on that, or click on read more, so that they actually read the whole of your blog post, all your creative work? And for that, I would like to show you, there is the HubSpots at HubSpot.com. There's a cool tool, the HubSpot blog title generator. It does not work perhaps every time, or maybe we can check in hotspot blog topic. Oh yeah, it was a topic, not the. But what's it? Yeah, I think it could work as a title as well. Why not? So if you go to hubspot.com/blog-topic-generator, it's a quite fun tool, and sometimes you might get a great idea. So it can generate some topic ideas, and possibly with some small modifications, you could get even a title out of those topics. So let's say you want to talk about travel around the world and student budget. And then you click on Give me blog topics. And then it gives you 5 suggestions of blog topics that could work for you. So for instance, 10 signs you should invest in travel. Sounds good. 10 quick tips about world travel. I mean, you can insert a word. They're not perfect. But the algorithm is quite interesting and produces some fun results. Think you're cut out for doing student traveling or traveling on a student budget? You can enhance this. Take this quiz. 20 myths about travel. How to solve the biggest problems in the world, or how to. It could be something else, but in any case, you get the idea. You can try again and refine your words, so you can get titles and topics that perhaps are closer to your needs. So let me go back to my Prezi and let me see if anyone is here. Yes, we have a viewer. Hi. And the rest of you could watch this recording from home. Let me continue. Perhaps I'm just mindful of the time. It's 11:15 already. Oh yes, and the third point was to consider search engine optimization, which means that your blog post title should have already some keywords, some terms that are searchable, that people are searching for, that you have to think, what would you search? Would you search by this kind of terms? So you can already use some search engine optimization thinking when you're choosing your blog post titles. Stages of professional writing: idea, outlining, editing, and submission. So from the basic idea of your blog post that you have in the beginning, you have to create the outline, the content, you have to edit that, proofread it before you actually submit it to the blog post to be published. So I wouldn't recommend that you just write in your blog post on WordPress as a draft your idea. I think it's something that you can take a piece of paper even, or your laptop on your lap, on your couch or on your table, and start drafting different ideas, putting down ideas, making some outlines, and jotting down some thoughts. And always work on a Word document separately instead of creating content directly to WordPress. As we said, that it might be lost, it might be not saved properly. So for that reason, take those stages, the first stages, and 1 to 3 at least, to edit until editing your text somewhere else, not on WordPress. And then, of course, the submission on our blog's WordPress dashboard. Ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle said it very simply, and it might be so obvious that the whole is a whole is something that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And this is something that, despite the fact that it's so obvious, is often really neglected. And I've seen and I've read many blog posts that they don't have a beginning, they don't have a middle, they don't have an end. Something is missing, or they might have two of the three, or everything might seem like an endless beginning. I think these are the worst, when there's a constant blah 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 without getting actually somewhere to a point. So this is something you have to take into consideration. Here is, and I will close with this, is Freytag's Pyramid. Gustav Freytag is a 19th century German novelist who has created this legendary pyramid structure to talk about the structure of novels and fairy tales. And we all are familiar with fairy tales because we've been exposed to them from the very beginning of after our births, when our parents would be reading fairy tales to us. So this is a very typical, the pyramid that you see here, very typical structure of a good story. So this is something that I want you to consider when you're writing a good action post and you want to take your readers on a journey. So here you see point by point the steps. So first of all, at step number 1, you set the stage. That's the exposition stage of Freytag's Pyramid. You introduce the main characters, the setting. So is it you? Is it you and your boyfriend? Is it you and your girlfriend? And you're going somewhere, or what's your background? Are you from Kaunas, and what's your current situation? So you talk about the characters, the people involved. You talk a little bit, you give them, you describe their background, their the situation. And then you talk about an inciting incident, something that happened that creates some kind of tension that urges you to act. So, and then we saw that this great event is happening in a nearby city, and therefore we have to find our way to go there. So there is a challenge, there is a problem. And by problem, don't see it negatively. The word problem has, of course, a negative connotation, but something that is something new. Something new is happening. It could be something new, not necessarily negative, but something that you need to solve. And then what? And then there's the rising action. What happens as a result of a complication? Let's say that maybe it's you and your boyfriend in the beginning as characters in the scene that you're from Lithuania. You both students there, but then your boyfriend gets a letter to study in Singapore. How great, but so emotional as well. So there's a challenge now, how to keep that relationship going with one studying abroad and the one in Lithuania. And now the rising action continues. So there's emotional reactions, there's consequences. So the story begins to be built more and more and more. Now I'm just saying, top of my head, an example that could fit your blog posts and based on your studies. And then comes the fourth part, the climax. As you see here in the pyramid, as we started from low, we're climbing up the pyramid. There's the complication. The climax is that part where you're standing here and you're describing that top of the mountain, top of the pyramid, where you're about to fall back and you're about to fall forward, and is this very nail-biting situation. There's drama, there's tension. It's the most emotional moment in your story. And again, you might be writing a blog post about a recipe, and you might thinking, well, what's the tension there? Well, you have to think about maybe the fact that the cake is rising in the oven. It's a moment of tension. So in that context, the climax of a food blog post where you're writing about making a cake, maybe the tension is that, and then, or before, then I realize that I'm missing one ingredient, and that's a complication. And what do? Do I go to the supermarket, buy the missing ingredient, or do the cake with what I have and hopefully it expands in the oven, or what's happening? So you have to think creatively and make sure that it fits somehow. Of course, not everything can be made into an action post using the Freitag fairy tale or storytelling model. But the idea is that you have to follow this beginning, middle, and that you take your readers on a journey. Otherwise, it's a little bit boring, and then your blog post is like a diary. I woke up, I ate eggs, then I moved on, and I did this, and then I mean, if your family wants to read that, that's fine. But other than that, I don't think that perhaps you will target a very interested, enthusiastic audience. And then step number 5, following action, consequences, reactions, events happening as a result of the climax. Then people feel that, okay, now the story will soon end. So you have to still keep them going into reading your blog post, reading your story. Resolution, the character, you or whoever is in your story, but since it's your personal blog post, personal blog accounts, you are the main character. You solve the problem, or somebody solves it for you. And then at the end, the denouement, the conclusion or ending, you set the stage, or you close the stage now with some atmosphere. Maybe you leave something as any mystery that might be in the air. It could be explained, and maybe you leave something for the continuation, some curiosity. So you leave the maybe the reader thinking about something that will happen in the future. So stay tuned to find out what's happening next and what adventures I'm about to embark next. So this was the Freitag pyramid that I wanted to present to you when we talk about writing action posts. So that was another topic for today, and I will stop sharing my screen. I will end now, and let's be in contact in Moodle. Please follow those instructions in Moodle. Ask questions if something isn't clear from me or from your classmates. Read all the material, lots of material. So what you need to do, 5 blogging assignments, absolutely you need to accomplish. And you share all your 5 assignments in all the 4 social media networks that we have. Campus Ambassadors Facebook page that needs to be created. Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn needs to be created as well. So this broadcast would be available in YouTube, on YouTube. So I'll share you the link in Moodle. Until next time, bye.